Previously on Voice Wars.
As of this week, the teams are hereby disbanded. For this week's challenge, we'll be playing a little game called Anime Matchmaker.
I chose Candace Flynn from Phineas and Ferb.
I have chosen Olga Pataki from the 90s show Hey Arnold.
Yzma, The Emperor's New Groove.
Contestants, we are going out for dinner and a movie. What would we eat and what would we watch?
Restaurants. Did I tell you about the time that my brothers built a 5-star restaurant in our backyard? And the whole town was there. Raving reviews. I couldn't even get a seat.
I love singing and karaoke is just what the doctor ordered. What song would you sing?
If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. Oh, wait! I'm sorry.
I'd love to know from my contestants, what is the best way to crush your enemy?
I'm so glad you asked, Caitlin. My specialty is potions. And my favorite potion is one that will turn my opponent into a small little bug. Just crushable enough to hear a crunch when I smack it into pieces.
Nicole Tuttle as Candace Flynn.
I would have loved to hear a little bit more from you.
Abbey Veffer.
Consistency was there, the characterization was there. I was hoping to have a little bit of that sizzly Eartha Kitt, you know.
Even if it's just an imitation or the impression, like the farther you go, the funnier it's gonna be.
Lisa Marie Lee as Olga Pataki.
Really well done. Way to kind of run with the answers and come up with things that were specific and also in character.
The winner of today's challenge is Lisa Marie Lee as Olga Pataki. Our bottom two competitors for this week are Nicole Tuttle and Abbey Veffer.
We've created an era of fear in the world. And if we don't want the world to destroy itself,
We need to replace it with an era of peace and kindness.
Nicole Tuttle, you're safe. Abby, I thought that every week you have just balled out for this show, and it really shows in your work.
thank you for having me. This has been such a cool experience. Really, it's been an honor. Thank you all so much.
We'll see you at work.
That's right.
Hello, Final Four! Congratulations on your cartoon work, and you've almost made it to the finale. If you make it through this one, you are in the final three. Now, for this week's challenge, we'll be playing a little game called Fan Fiction or Fan Reality. Each of you will be sent a passage that you will have to narrate, but as you are narrating it, any of the judges can pop in at any time to feed you a random direction, like popcorn reading style.
Ha.
They will be giving you directions that you will need to act out until you finish the piece. But here's the catch. As voice actors, we occasionally get really bad scripts. So your passages will be from famously bad fanfics.
I was born for this.
Good luck, and may the greatest storyteller win. In regards to your fanfic passage, I think I gave you the Death Note one.
Yes.
So how much do you know about Death Note? Like, I know you're like the anime fan and stuff like that, but
I've
yeah.
actually never seen Death Note. It's one of those shows that you hear so much about, and then because of that, you don't want to watch it. Because you know every single plot twist and everything, because everyone talks about it.
What do you think is worse, this fanfic or the movie? Or did you?
I haven't seen it.
Oh God!
I know though. I would say this fanfic is relatively harmless. It's not made by a big production company.
Yeah.
You know, isn't like whitewashing. Presumably, I don't know. They did say that part about an American car, so maybe.
How are you approaching this challenge? Like, what's your, like, lead up to this whole thing?
Like, there's certain parts of it I want to take seriously and sort of narrate it, and then certain parts I really want to ham up, because I think that juxtaposition will make it funnier. So that's what I've been thinking of. Where should I be silly? Where should I be serious? Should I use different voices for each character, and so on?
So, you're kind of starting to build a rep as, like, the cold read assassin on this show.
That's one of the things that I brought over from my history in theater and stage acting, because cold reading is kind of a part of the gig, you know? You do that almost every audition for theater as well, where you are given a scene and you just have to make bold choices. And so the idea of just sticking with something and going for it has always been there for me for cold reads, so I'm glad that it's worked out well for me here so far. I don't like how I've had to use it, but oh well.
I mean, it should probably help you with this challenge, considering it's a giant passage reading.
That's true.
I gave you a Final Fantasy VII fanfic.
Yes, you did.
How's that going for you?
So I had to Google, like, these names, because I've never played Final Fantasy 1 through 7, none of them. And so I don't know these characters, I don't really know anything about them. So I did a little bit of research just to kind of understand where this is coming from. I think it's going pretty well, though. I am invested in these characters now.
Spoiler alert, Rain's not actually a real character.
What? Alright, you know what? I'm gonna this is my canon now.
You've got the research going, like, what else is kind of in your approach on winning this one?
Well, I know that, like, fanfic has a bit of a bad rep, knowing, like, you know, some of them not always the best written, because anyone can write fanfic, usually without editors, usually without even reading through it a second time. So I know that fanfic can sometimes have that kind of negative connotation to it, but in my brain, if somebody is that passionate about a project that they are willing to sit down, devote time and energy to writing about it and creating more, that is, like, the coolest thing. That's just like a big thank you to the original artists. And, you know, my goal here is this writer wrote this with passion, so I'm gonna deliver it with passion.
So far, you've been pretty consistently near the top on these challenges. How are you feeling about your chances right now?
You know, no, I'm feeling really good. These have been a lot of fun, lots of fun challenges, and it's been fun every week, so that's always nice.
Tell me about the passage I sent you. I gave you probably the most well-known bad fanfic of all time, My Immortal.
Really?
But
That's
yeah,
well known? Oh,
yeah, it's a trip.
Well, what's funny about it was when I was reading it, because I have never read it, and so when I was reading it, I was like, oh wait, this is Draco from Harry Potter, and so, like, it, like, totally switched my brain. And then the other thing too was that Good Charlotte, like, when I was listening to Good Charlotte, I was a teenager, and so it almost, like, was this weird nostalgic thing when I was reading. I was just like, oh well, I guess I guess this is familiar territory in a way.
What's your kind of game plan for this one?
Man, you know, it's kind of hard to say, because you don't want to get married to too many ideas, you know, because in this kind of competition you have to be, like, quick and loose, you know, very flexible. And so I'm going to read through it enough just so that I'm comfortable with the words themselves, so that nothing in the nothing in the copy is going to trip me up, at least, like, with the words themselves, so that I'm able to give that room to whatever is thrown at me, whatever character might be thrown at me, or terrain, or weather, or whatever it might be. So I don't want to get tripped up on the words themselves. So I'm not going to get married to too many ideas, but I'm just going to get familiar enough so that I'm able to just roll through it.
First things first, congrats on winning the last challenge.
Thank you.
And you know what? You're tied for the most challenge wins with Sarah. So how do you you got like kind of all the momentum going your way. How do you feel about your chances going into this final stretch here?
I mean, I feel pretty good. I mean, God, the competition's also so like great. Like everyone has their own like strong points too. But I mean, I feel good. You know, but I also feel good about the other people, if that makes any sense. So.
I gave you a DBZ World War II fanfic.
Yes, you did.
So how's reading that been going for you?
Okay, so the first time I read it out loud, I couldn't get through it without like laughing. But you know, over time, like reading it again, it's just like okay, there's some stuff here. It's surprisingly well written, and I say that kind of, you know.
Yeah.
You know, with the topic in mind, it was still kind of well written.
So, what's your approach to this challenge, and how do you think you can come out on top on this one?
Oh man, I mean, I'm just gonna read it like as is. I mean, you know, like color it and such with my voice, but you know, just I think the story speaks for itself, so I don't want to go like too crazy on it. I am still working on the bad German accent, but you know, so I think that's the most I'm playing.
I'm enjoying this idea.
Yeah. I'm still working on it, but.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm excited to see it. Welcome to today's Voice Wars Challenge, fan fiction or fan reality? Our contestants are going to bring out their passages in a bit, but first let's chat with our judges. Kaiji Tang, how you doing?
Oh, doing good, Aiden, you know?
Ratana, how's it going?
Oh, hey, hi. It's going well. I mean, you know, as well as you can do during a pandemic and a political existential crisis, so I call it pandemic good.
Chris Tergliafera, how are you doing during this fine day?
Doing well. Also, I'm looking forward when this episode airs. Hopefully the election is done and settled and we have we're moving forward and...
Amen, brother.
Nice.
Brad Venable, how are you doing?
I'm in the middle of another existential crisis, but okay. Yeah, I'm not...
So we're all pandemic good.
Finally, our guest judge for the week. You know her as Elise and Eleonora from Fire Emblem Heroes, Terminal from XCOM Chimera Squad, Kuromi in the recently released Hello Kitty Super Cute Adventures, and as Jade from Rainbow High, as well as the director of Rainbow High, Jenny Yokobori. How you doing, fam?
Who, me?
Yes, queen.
Hi. I'm doing the same as I always am, chaotic good.
I see you've got the appropriate merch ready for today.
Oh, sorry, am I wearing a shirt? I didn't even notice. That's so weird.
Well, let's get started with our fanfic passages. As a reminder, at any point in these passages, our judges can decide to interrupt and give them a random direction of their choice. Up first today, Lisa Marie Lee, with a selection from Until the End of Time, a Dragon Ball Z World War II fanfic.
Hell yeah.
Lisa Marie, are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
God damn it, Jenny!
Alright. What's up?
3, 2, 1, go.
Until the end of time, tanks were parading down the street as Adolf Hitler himself stood on a platform overlooking it all.
Stop.
Stay here.
Stop. You have been a abbot meat eater your entire life, but yesterday it was one steak too far and you saw this really cute cow documentary, and now you really come to terms with the fact that maybe you've been evil this entire time eating meat.
Stay here, Goku said, dropping Anne in a shaded area under a tree. He then flew straight towards the parade of tanks, fist outstretched, screaming as loud as he could. The soldiers below scattered in terror, while the tanks tried to aim their cannons at him.
Stop,
and nimble
please.
for them.
It's winter and it's very windy.
He was too quick and nimble for them. However, and opened the hatch of a nearby panzer and headed inside. After dispatching.
So since you decided against meat, you also today decided to go for a nice cheese pizza, but it was very, very hot, so you burned your tongue, so that is working against you as well.
After dispatching of the soldiers in control of the war machine, he took the wheel. He fired round after round into the crowds of Nazi soldiers, occasionally firing at the other tanks. After only minutes, there was nothing but a cloud of dust and corpses. Goku emerged from the tank's hatch, smiling now that he had done his duty. When all the dust cleared, there were only 2 people remaining on the parade ground. Goku, the Saiyan hero, and Adolf Hitler, the most evil man to ever walk the earth.
Stop. ASMR.
Anne watched from nearby fearfully as she saw the 2 men stare at each other for what seemed like hours. Her one true love and her ultimate oppressor. It had come down to this. So, Hitler said jovially, you took out all of my men. However, you aren't going to defeat me. Hitler then jumped down from his platform and down onto the street in front of Goku, pulling a chain gun from the ground nearby.
Stop.
Goku.
This battle's actually going on in front of you, and you're narrating it, so all this noise is going on, so you have to make it be heard to the person next to you.
Goku quickly jumped behind a ruined tank as Adolf opened fire. The tank made decent cover, but it wasn't long until it would be torn apart by the hail of bullets. Goku had to act. He dashed out from the side of the tank and flew as fast as he could toward Hitler, who had no time to react. He grabbed the chain gun out of his enemy's hands and snapped it over his knee with ease. Hitler stumbled backwards, shocked at the turn of events. Goku smirked, then said, "It's come down to this."
Stop. Oh, go ahead, Jenny.
Make Goku have a little bit of a secret. Give him a sassy little secret.
It's come down to this. You and me. Fighting like men. If you admit defeat now, I'll kill you rather painlessly. Goku had the definite advantage. Or so it seemed. Hitler burst into a laugh as Goku looked on quizzically. The mustachioed man slowly rose into the air as if his brown hair and pencil mustache turned a blonde color and his brown eyes turned blue. Goku reeled in horror. Hitler continued laughing, then finally said, "Goku, you came here expecting to find a madman, but instead you have found a god." Hitler had become a Super Saiyan.
Give it up.
It's really hard.
My God.
Up next, Miss Lily Lammers with a piece from The Adventures of Dark Yagami, a Death Note fanfic. Lily, are you ready?
Yeah, I also want to say I'm announcing that I'm playing Iron Man now in Spider-Man 3.
What a dramatic announcement.
I waited all this time.
3, 2, 1, go.
The Adventures of Dark Yagami. It was a hot day, and Light came home from school. As he got to his house, he saw a strange car outside, and he knew immediately it was not American because the wheel was on the wrong side. He walked in the front door to find his dad, Soichiro, and his mom.
Stop. You are doing this as a news report on top of a mountain in a blizzard.
Author's note, I can't remember her name. Sorry. They look surprised to see him. Mom, Dad, what's going on? Light asked them. Light, we have something to tell you, said his dad while playing with his mustache. This is your twin brother, Dark Yagami. They both said together and pointed to the guy in the corner of the room.
Stop, please. As you're filming this on this mountain and it's cold, your cameraman, the wind has ripped away your cameraman's pants, and you're trying to deliver this report while your cameraman is half nude, trying to get his pants back in the background.
Dark looked exactly the same as Light, except that he had black hair and was dressed like Mellow. But Light hadn't met Mellow yet, so he didn't know that. Winky face. He got up and walked across the room. "Hi, bro. I'm Dark," he said, LOLing, and offered his hand to shake. How could you?
Stop. Dark sounds like a boss baby, but a small British boss baby.
Okay.
Thank you.
How could you not tell me about this? Light shouted like that. We sent him to a top-secret orphanage in Wales. It's a town in England where he would learn to be the next L. We can't tell anyone because it's top secret, and Kira might find out, and Kira might try to kill him, his mom said. Light was crazy and punched table. "I'm going to my room. Come on, Sayu," he said. And Sayu... Light's sister, LOL, followed him upstairs.
Stop. It's a teenage birthday party and you're a little drunk on wine coolers.
I'm sorry, Light. I wanted to tell you about Dark, but Mom and Soichiro wouldn't let me.
That's okay, Light replied. You're my sister, and I know how much you love me. Thanks, Light. They hugged. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. It was Dark. Come on, Dark. I've got something to show you.
Oh. Still delivering that news report, but there's a dog that the owner's just kind of letting jump up on you and not doing anything about, so you have to make sure the dog stays down and out of frame, but it won't stop jumping up on you.
Light said, and they went into their room. Light's parents had made Light's bed into a double bed. I know what you're thinking, sickos. No, there's no slash. Light put the pencil in the door to stop people listening and said, "I'm Kira." Dark immediately shooted. I knew it!
These are incredible.
Our next performance in Masterpiece Fanfic Theatre is from Miss Sarah Blandy, with a piece from My Immortal, the most famous Harry Potter fanfic of all time. Sarah, you ready?
I am ready.
3, 2, 1.
My Immortal. I went outside. Draco was waiting there in front of his fine car. Oh, he was wearing a Simple Plan t-shirt. They would play at the show too. Baggy black skater pants, black nail polish, and a little eyeliner. A lot of cool boys wore it, okay? Hi, Draco, I said in a depressed voice.
Stop, please. Hey, Sarah, we just got back off a phone call with the clients. They decided to take this in a new direction. They decided that every character in this fanfic should now voice match Macho Man Randy Savage. Thank you so much.
God, if I had a nickel.
Hi, Ebony, he said back. We walked into his flying black Mercedes-Benz, the license plate said 666, and flew to the place with the concert, okay? On the way, we listened excitedly to Good Charlotte and Marilyn Manson. And we both smoked cigarettes and drugs, man. When we got there, we both hopped out of the car. We went to the mosh pit at the front of the stage and jumped up and down as we listened to Good Charlotte. You come in cold, you're covered in blood. The doctor cuts your cord, hands you to your mom. She says, "Free into this life." Sang Joel. By the way, I don't own the lyrics to that song, okay? Joel is hot, I said to Draco, pointing to him as he sung, filling the club with his amazing voice. Suddenly, Draco looked sad.
Stop. Okay, let's just hearing back even more feedback from the client. We want to keep the character voices as Macho Man, and we want all of the narration parts to be as if you were a super fan of a sport. Your choice.
What's wrong? I asked as we moshed to the music. Then I caught on. Really? Asked Draco sensitively, and he put his arm around me, all protective. Really, I said. Besides, I don't even know Joel. He's going out with that Hillary Duff. I hate that chick, he said. I said disgustingly, thinking of her ugly blonde face.
There's a baby asleep in the room, and you want to keep the baby asleep.
The night went on really well, and I had a great time. So did Draco. After the concert, we drank some beer and asked Benji and Joel for their autographs and photos with them.
Wait, stop. As you know, Mercedes-Benz is sponsoring this entire show, so really make sure you sell this next line. Give the product its due. Yeah, if you want to throw in anything you really like about the product, you know, we can. That would be great. So thank you.
Well, because you joined this concert, we got good Charlotte concert tees. Draco and I crawled back into the Mercedes-Benz, but Draco didn't go back into Hogwarts. No, he went in that beautiful, sleek, cool Mercedes-Benz, and instead he drove the car into the Forbidden Forest, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz.
All right. And now, with our final piece of the night, Miss Nicole Tuttle from Cleveland, with a passage from The Story of Rain Strife, a Final Fantasy VII fanfic. Nicole, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. In 3, 2, 1.
The story of Rain Strife. Rain Strife, who was Cloud Strife's brother, was one day near Magar, in a city that was small, called Strife Town, where Cloud Strife was born in. And Rain Strife, too. Rain Strife was littler than Cloud Strife, so he couldn't join Barrett and Tifa, so he stayed home. And stayed. Rain Strife was practicing so he could one day do it, like Cloud Strife, and that is the time when it happened. When comets came down to Strife Town and killed people in Strife Town and Rain Strife's parents, who were Cloud Strife's parents too.
Stop, please. While you're recording this piece, you notice that you've stepped in a small but noticeably sized spider egg sac, and it is now starting to give birth all over your shoe. However, you can't lose this job. This is a very important job. You're a professional, and you're going to power your way through this.
The comets came and killed people in Strife Town and Midgar and everywhere else. And people said really loud, "Help us, somebody, soon!" And Rain Strife heard it. So he went. Rain Strife traveled fast to where loud sounds come from and to help them there. They all said together, "Help, Rain Strife, we're hurting!" And Rain Strife said back, "I'll help you if you're hurting." And Rain Strife blew out fire and picked up some comet off people and band-aided them to health. Then Rain Strife...
Yeah, so we're hearing back from the clients, and we want to make this a Zingspiel-style musical, a la Robert Preston in The Music Man.
Then Rain Strife yelled out loud, real loud, "Sephiroth, stop! Or I make you stop!" And traveled faster to where Sephiroth is. Rain Strife went, traveled over lands and hills and ground and water, and wanted to stop Sephiroth, to make him stop hurting people in Strife Town and all other towns in Fantasy World.
Please? You've just had the world's shittiest day, and you've been on the verge of tears, and they're just about to spill over, but, you know, you're tough. You can get through this.
Rain Strife stopped at other places and said, "All people, I will stop Sephiroth and help people until I do." And the people of Fantasy World said, "Thank you, Rain Strife. Save us like Cloud Strife did before." And so he went. On the way to Sephiroth's castle in the sky, Rain Strife had to fight
and battle bad guys on the way there. Rainstrife traveled, and then boom! There was fight. Rainstrife had to fight, but he didn't have members to help Rainstrife yet, so Rainstrife did it himself. The bad guy was like a tree, but had wings and fire came out, so Rainstrife had to duck a lot. Rainstrife went slash fast and slash cut tree in parts and fell apart and died fast, so Rainstrife did wind dance and kept traveling faster. Rainstrife went over hill and saw town, and went and he got in and saw bad things punching people in town, so Rainstrife said, "Stop!" and fighted them, and won them, and did wind dance. And he kept talking to see what happened. People in town said, "Sephiroth came!" And Rainstrife said, "No, Sephiroth, not this time!" And he screamed to the sky. Then, Raisin Bran, with guns on hand, said, "I help you, Rainstrife, and fight Sephiroth in the sky." The Rainstrife said, "Thanks you, Raisin Bran. You're in quest." And Rainstrife and Raisin Bran, with gun hands, left town to fight Sephiroth. Rainstrife and Raisin Bran talked on the way to travel there, to see what happened to them. Raisin Bran said, Sephiroth comets came to his town, killed all the family in his house, so Raisin Bran wanted to kill Sephiroth back. Rainstrife told Raisin Bran about Strife Town and all that happened.
Sorry, we just got word back from the client. They love the direction that you're going in with the Raisin Bran. However, because they are now, Raisin Bran is actually interested in sponsoring this, and so they just want to like throw in like a few little like tidbits about the product there, just like sprinkle them in like raisins, just make it fun, make it organic.
Rainstrife told Raisin Bran about Strife Town, all that happened, so Raisin Bran said, "I help you more, and I help your cholesterol." So the story was sad. Rainstrife and Raisin Bran kept going, and then all of a sudden, boom! Again. And another fight came. Raisin Bran said, "This is my fight this time, and I taste delicious!" And shot the bad guys with weapon hands. And bad guys said, "Ah, no! Sephiroth, we're sorry! We die!" And disappeared. So Raisin Bran and Rainstrife did wind dance. Music came. When they danced, then they kept going. Rainstrife and Raisin Bran kept travel on the path when they saw the big city on fire and said, "Oh no." Both together because it was an important city on fire. And Rainstrife and Raisin Bran said, "We need to help fast after this bowl of cereal." And ran there, but something bad happened. To be continued.
Wow, kudos to all of you for reading the writings,
the arts
that were presented to you.
Okay now, everybody. So now it is time for the judges' critiques. First up, Lisa Marie Lee with Until the End of Time, and a cat!
Cat!
Wow!
I was thoroughly entertained. I think like a good, I didn't have any real specific notes with it. I was enjoying it. And I think if I'm engrossed with this really weird story, that's probably the biggest compliment I can give.
We definitely piled a lot on you. Like you had the privilege of being like the first like guinea pig. We're like,
right.
What do we want her to do? This, and yeah. So yeah, you soldiered through. It was very impressive. There were some moments where you could have tied in one direction with another, like Brad's ASMR, right? You could have possibly tied it into with you being depressed that you're a filthy meat eater and you maybe murdered more cows than you care to admit, stuff like that. But again, it was a lot. It was impressive that you held consistency for as long as you did. So I'm a fan.
I'm sure going first doesn't help either because you don't quite know what to expect. I think there were like little things that I noticed, like just sometimes the dialect would be a little bit inconsistent, but I mean that's the smallest thing. We can go back and pick that stuff up. So And also you had to read that glorious piece of fan fiction. Well done.
Up next, Lily Lammers with her Death Note fanfic.
Yeah, we went from on top of a mountain, and then you were at a kid's party. So good job on that front. I'm really hoping that Pantsless thing did not make the transition into the kids' party.
There's a pantsless cameraman at a child's party.
Yeah, we had that moment where we were doing we weren't layering our direction for you at times that were optimal. I believe that, Blizzard on the Mountaintop was kind of lost as soon as we went to the kids' party, which is fine because, I'm just one of the junior ad execs in the room, and I get that. Totally know my place. But, I really would have liked to heard you talking above not only what could have been a blizzard, but maybe across about 25 8-year-olds screaming bloody murder. Just something like that, maybe. I don't know.
I will say, as like an overall note for all four of you, you all did wonderful. However, I very much got the impression that you all had a very specific way that you had in your head of how you were going to read it and how it was going to go, and like the beats that you wanted to hit and everything. And so when those directions were thrown at you, it was just sort of like, it was more being like, how can I still hit those beats that I want to hit while taking this direction? Whereas in a live session, it's oftentimes like just throw any like preconceptions out the window. Like things can change on an absolute dime, and you can go from like having the character be a complete and utter extrovert and then the client is suddenly like, you know what, actually let's see what she's like if she's like really, really reserved, and you just have to throw everything out the window and become that character instead.
Sarah Blandy with My Immortal.
As somebody personally who had no experience with My Immortal, we had a lot of fun just kind of reading through this together. So first of all, I think, good job taking the direction. I think there were some places, kind of like in the previous note to Lily where you could have gone more or just taken it in a different direction, but way to really just like start strong and like commit to, your thoughts and your character, and then to adjust as the directions were given.
John Madden had a good quote. I use it it can be used for direction or coaching or anything. It's like, doesn't matter if the horse is blind, load the cart anyway. So whatever the direction is, just go with it, because that's ultimately their call with it. On the other hand, I loved what you did with my direction, because also there was a way with the Mercedes-Benz thing. You did it, you actually did it in a serious, it was funny. It was funny because the fact that you took it seriously, like the sleek, beautiful, it wasn't just like, kind of a wink to the camera, which, I think, especially whenever you try to make something funny, it's more funny knowing that we all know what you have to do, and then you doing it to the nine. So, and that way you did take the direction very well. And I just liked the entire emo vibe you had.
Kaiji talked about the Macho Man and me talking about Super Sports Fan. And I didn't really give you like a location. So I was leaving it open to your interpretation. I probably should have given you something that was a little more focused, like a super football fan who has season tickets for 30 years, something like that. That would have been something that would have been like, all of a sudden you got the Macho Man who's going, go Rams! And stuff like that, as opposed to like, oh, that's so generic, how do I do it? And that's probably on me. So, good job sticking in there. A line drop and some other things, but like we were saying, we saw that there was some wheels turning, and that was what we needed out of there. Good job overall.
I also want to commend that there was never a moment where it felt like you were playing at a joke. It always felt like you were a part of it and you were just existing within that realm. So that was very good.
And finally, Nicole Tuttle with the story of Rain Strife.
Yeah. A+ 5 stars for going all Robert Preston, not knowing who Robert Preston was. I suggest you go watch the movie version of The Music Man, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about, because he doesn't carry a tune in a bucket.
Well, you got trouble, my friend.
Right here, starts to pee and it stands for pool. He's doing it that way, where the inflection of his voice matches the intonation of the song, which is so weird and compelling, And just to see you do it completely blind, not knowing really what I was talking about, at least in a very specific way, but in a broader sense, you hit that thing with a paint roller. You were just hitting it every which way, and I was just like, I was enthralled.
Yeah, Nicole, that was awesome. I don't know if you could see me, but I was like dying. I was losing my shit, like really hard. The musicality you brought to a lot of the reads, and like it was perfect. It did not sound like you somehow elevated this fanfic into a very intriguing and very palatable monologue.
It was a compelling story.
Back pocket for theater auditions, honestly.
Adding to my book now.
Yeah, it was great.
I will say, just random interjection, I kind of gave you the piece that has like the most happen in it out of the four of them, and you really varied it up a lot. Like, it was really impressive.
It was great. You took direction very, very well. I think the only thing I would like to see is like, this is sort of like all across the board too. It's like a little differentiation between the character voices. And that's sort of like across the board, it's that all the characters sounded very similar, and like in audiobooks it is very important that you make sure they give them like a little bit more personality to set them apart. But then also you took my Raisin Bran ad direction and just, you very much went with it, very much like Sarah went with Chris's Mercedes did. Like, I just also love the fact there's like, we'll get to it after this bowl of cereal, and there's an important but it's the cereal's more important, and I like the implication of that.
Well, now comes the voting part.
No pressure.
It's hard! Okay.
So, when I call your name, I will tell you how you did. Nicole Tuttle. Congratulations, you won this challenge and you're moving on to the finale.
Thank you.
Lisa Marie Lee. I am sorry, but you are in the bottom two this week. Sarah Blandy. Congratulations, you have made the finale. Which means that our other bottom two is Lily Lammers. Lisa Marie, what do you call?
Heads.
It is a head.
Lisa Marie, do you wish to go first or second?
I will go first.
It is time to cold read to survive. Lisa Marie Lee, tonight's monologue is from Madoka Magica.
Oh.
3, 2, 1, go.
Want to know where we are? It's my dad's church. He was an honest man and way too nice.
He's the kind of guy who'd read the papers and start tearing up, because he couldn't figure out how to make things better.
He thought religion hadn't adapted enough. He wanted something new, something that made sense in today's world.
So, one day he started preaching stuff to the congregation that wasn't in the Bible. People got upset, stopped coming to his sermons.
The church kicked him out. And after that, well, nobody cared about what he had to say. Go figure, right? I mean, from the outside, I bet it looked like he was trying to start a cult.
Didn't matter if what he said was right or even if it made any sense. Everyone treated him like he was a psycho.
Oh man. So this was the closest vote that we have had so far. We literally had someone say they thought it was a tie, but they had to pick someone if they were getting super nitpicky. Lily Lammers, you have moved on to the finale. Lisa Marie, this is not throwing anybody under the bus, but your audition monologue to submit for this competition was my favorite one of all of the 100 or so. I loved it. You are so phenomenally talented, and I cannot wait to see what you do in the future.
Thanks for having me, and congrats to Nicole, by the way, so yeah, for winning.
Thank you everybody for tuning in to Voice Wars, but who will be our champion? Will it be Lily Lammers, Nicole Tuttle, or Sarah Blandy? Be sure to watch the finale next week to find out. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Jenny for guesting, and to all of our contestants and to all of our judges. Good night, everyone.
I'm pretty bummed, but at the same time, I'm really happy I got this far. To be part of the semi-final thing is pretty cool. I really appreciated was all the feedback that I got from the last time, especially with pushing yourself as far as you can go. And I definitely when they said that, when the judges said that, I was like, no, I totally feel that. I really appreciated that feedback because I'm gonna take that to heart for everything else.
Oh, my Zoom back. That's embarrassing. How did it get like that?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Everything is fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
I feel that one. To my soul.
Right?